So, welcome. Ibrahim Traoré has done some massive and amazing job in relations to security in Burkina Faso. Number one, it's part of his agenda in 2026, and we've just seen that he has distributed 2,000 motorbikes to boost security forces in the Burkina Faso. So we can have a look at the video in relations to the distributions of the motorbikes in Burkina Faso. Then we can come back and analyze the video in details so that we can get a glimpse of this massive agenda as part of his main agenda in 2026. So let's watch this and we can come back and comment on the video.
Good evening. I'm delighted to see you again for a week of news on Burkina Television. This morning, February 2nd, the President of Faso, head of state, handed over equipment to the National Police. Equipment consisting of 2,000 motorcycles, which will help strengthen security coverage across the country. We are witnessing the handover of the motorcycles with Niakitida.
It is in this atmosphere that the President of Faso arrived at the scene this morning. And indeed, at this very spot, motorcycles as far as the eye can see. Just a demonstration to make sure that the Tawangul Matiuma motorcycles, security in French, are operational.
This is a mission that has made you so proud. The year 2000 marked a monumental turning point in our modern history as the world collectively transitioned into a brand new millennium filled with both great anticipation and significant technological uncertainty regarding the future of our global civilization.
Motorcycles are intended for the national police with the clear objective of contributing to the provision of security. They are a great asset in coverage by reducing response times. The vehicles will also make it easier for security forces to access high-crime areas.
You know that in the 2026 to 2030 recovery plan, ensuring security is an element included in pillar number 1. So this provision of motorcycles will further strengthen security throughout the entire national territory. You know that when it comes to security, you need mobility, you need speed. So these motorcycles will go into the hands of the national police and will be deployed very quickly in order to further strengthen security and provide peace of mind to the population. I have already given instructions so that these motorcycles can be deployed within a very short time frame to reduce response times during emergency calls from the population and also to carry out and strengthen patrols throughout the national territory, especially in areas that are often inaccessible by vehicles, but also to further consolidate the S24/7 concept that we launched in 2025.
This acquisition is a concrete realization of the President's vision. The safety of the population and their property is at the heart of his concerns, hence this special order for a special allocation.
Today is a historic day. This is the first time in history that the National Police has received this. Up to 2,000 motorcycles. This is a historic moment. This allows us to increase our mobility to better cover both urban and interurban areas in order to provide greater security for our citizens. Criminals most often operate on 2 wheels, so we also need 2-wheeled vehicles so that we can fight against crime.
The motorcycles won't be going into storage. They will be deployed immediately right now to every corner of Burkina. Not a single centimeter will be left to the enemies of the nation. At the Department of Security, measures have already been taken to ensure the efficient use of these vehicles.
You see, the problem with most Africans is they don't appreciate some small things that our leaders do. Because I saw a comment here that someone was saying what Traoré is doing is so small to be even recognized. So according to her, she wanted some massive development in Burkina Faso. But you know what? Me, I never replied to those comments because number one, you can imagine the kind of country that Traoré found. Okay? So Burkina Faso was torn apart This was a torn apart government. So Traoré is trying to build Burkina Faso from scratch. And you see, building a country is not a joke, man. It's not a joke at all. Building a country is not a joke. That's why in the New Year's message, according to Traoré, he was saying that Burkina Faso is kind of living in the 18th century. Can you imagine that? That Burkina Faso is kind of living in the 18th century. Why? Because of the development. Because Burkina Faso was totally underdeveloped. And the previous regimes were not doing anything to make sure Burkina Faso was developed. So Traoré took power in 2022. And the main aim of taking power was he wanted to catapult Burkina Faso's development projects to another orbit level. That is something that we can be proud of, we as Africans. And that's why Traoré is spoken like nearly each and every African knows who Traoré is because of the small developments that he's doing. He's against corruption. He has plan. Even in his the New Year's message, he was saying if the Burkinabes give him like the next 5 years, at least he will catapult the Burkina Faso's economy to the 1950s. Because according to him, like right now, Burkina Faso is living in the 18th century. So what does that mean? That basically means that indeed Burkina Faso was so much underdeveloped. And the Burkinabes are seeing this. They are seeing his effort. Because if you are a follower of Burkina Faso's news, even when there was an attempted coup, it was the Burkinabes, the people who stood by Traoré and saying, hey man, this one is our leader and we appreciate what he's doing. So what does that even tell you? It tells you that Burkina Fasos and the Burkinabes, they are proud of what Traoré is doing. Personally, for me, I'm not from Burkina Faso, but I'm an African. So I am appreciating what this gentleman is doing. Okay? So we don't need to say that what he's doing basically is too little to be acknowledged. No, we don't say like that. You have to factor in that Burkina Faso is a very small economy. And that's why even Traoré is trying his level best to come up with initiatives to fund this, his government. Initiative like the Faso Mebo initiative, where people are invited to join and contribute to the national coffers. Why? So that the money that will be contributed can be used to spearhead national development. So we have to give him his credit, because indeed this is a leader who is devoted and who loves his country. So according to the motorbikes that is distributed, the main aim basically is to boost Burkina Faso's security. And according to his speech, he's saying that the motorbikes were to be distributed immediately. 2,000 of them, all across Burkina Faso to boost security. Now, this one is not supposed to be distributed to the army generals or what? No. So the motorbikes are specifically meant for the police patrolling the areas and making sure that the Burkinabes are very, very secure. This is what we need as Africans. Small developments. We don't need to go to the moon so that our nations can be referred to as developed. No. We just have to make sure that each and every citizen can at least afford some basic need. And that is what Traoré is trying to do. So according to Traoré, if we give him the next 5 years, he will at least spearhead this agenda in relations to Burkina Faso's development. And you can see the main reason why Burkina Faso, they broke away, they cut their ties with the ECOWAS, was because of security. Because they felt that ECOWAS was not doing enough to make sure that the security in Burkina Faso was up to par. That's why they broke up and formed their own security alliance. That is Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. They broke up a 5,000 security alliance of men. And these men were to take part in ensuring that the Sahel region is at peace. So, ladies and gentlemen, we can give credit to where it's due, and Traoré is doing massive job. Not only that, imagine we are in the second month of the year, and he has done some serious job. One, allocation of these 2,000 motorbikes to the police. Two, he's at least trying to make sure that hospitals in Burkina Faso, they get modern equipment. Some of the serious equipments have been distributed to the national hospitals in Burkina Faso, and that is what we want, we as Africans. So we don't need to see much development or massive development, infrastructure development to at least see that we are progressing. No, we have to appreciate the little fact that he's doing. He has also made sure that the Burkina Faso's dairy industry is booming, because according to the news that I've been reading some few minutes ago, he's trying to import some 1,000 different dairy products from Brazil, at least to boost the dairy businesses in Burkina Faso. He has donated massive bus services in Burkina Faso. Highways are being built in Burkina Faso. And you can imagine, there's one highway that is connecting the main city, Burkina Faso, to the second largest city. It is being done. And it's done with the money from the government, not even borrowing money from different initiatives. No. This is internal money, contribution from well-wishers, contributions from people who love Burkina Faso. And this is what we need as Africa. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for staying up. Africa will be great. Africa must be great, and we have to make this thing happen. See you next time. Bye-bye.